Hey everybody, welcome to race week for the 2022 Majors 24. With over 500 teams and 3,000 drivers registered, this is going to be one crazy week. Hopefully, this overview will help you navigate it all. But in addition to this overview, you can find most all of the information that you could possibly need on either our website, which is on the screen, in the rules document, or in the FAQ channel on Discord. Now, if you've gone through all of that information, you've watched this overview, and you're still not sure about how something works, you can ask in the Majors 24 general channel on Discord. We'll have the link to the Discord in the description. For the next 7 days, you and your teammates will have access to 24/7 around the clock practice sessions. You'll also have access to pre-qualifying sessions 8 times a day, and those sessions, all of them, will be found in iRacing's hosted. So from the iRacing beta UI, you simply go racing and hosted. You click on the hosted tab. If you're not familiar, you'll see all the sessions here. Uh, we'll bring up one of our coming up ones so you can kind of see what it is, because each of the sessions is going to have a password protected, so just the folks who are intending to race will have access to it. So let's click on this bad boy. So here is a practice session, and you can tell it's a practice session because it says Majors 24 practice. It's a password. It's password protected, and the passwords for all of our practice sessions is life, Life. Um, and there you have it. For the pre-qualifying sessions, you can see on the screen, those are listed as Majors Pre-Q. You click on that again, Majors Pre-Q. Those happen 8 times a day, every 3 hours of the day. And they happen at 1 a.m., 4 a.m., 7 a.m., 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m. Those are all GMT times, so you'll want to convert that to your time zone. Those times can also be found in the rules document and on the Majors website, in addition to being on in the hosted area. You can't see the hosted sessions in advance, so you kind of want to know when they're going to be. Um, anyway, if a practice session fills up during the week, and they probably will, don't expect us to build more. We probably won't, although on occasion we may, just kind of depending on demand. If a pre-qualifying session fills up, we will try to create a new one as needed based on demand, and as the week goes along. We will proactively create multiple sessions for each time slot. So we may have two or three going at any one time. With 3,000 drivers and roughly 50 pre-qualifying sessions, they're going to be full a lot. Now, how exactly does pre-qualifying work, though? Well, first of all, it's really important to know that pre-qualifying is what is being used to determine your split assignment, not iRating. iRating has nothing to do with your split assignment in the Majors 24. Each team will average the times of their top 3 drivers during pre-qualifying. Now, if a team only has 2 drivers, then pre-qualifying will average those two. But very importantly, teams with 2 drivers in pre-qualifying are not allowed to add additional drivers come race day. They must race with just the two. Um, for all other teams, you average your 3. Now, that doesn't mean that you only your top 3 drivers need to pre-qualify. Every single driver on your team can pre-qualify and should, to get your best average. The reason why you want to have everybody pre-qualify is in case something comes up, right? So if one of your top 3 guys has to withdraw late in the week, you'll have a time in there for another person, so you can have a valid time. Also important, if one of your top 3 drivers, when the race week is over, if one of your top 3 drivers does not actually race, then your team will be penalized a lap. And that's just to discourage people from bringing in ringers, just for qualifying purposes only. Um, now, There's been some questions about how the pre-qualifying sessions themselves work. So number one, they're not team sessions. Your drivers can join any of them. As I said, there's over 50 to choose from throughout the week. Each driver within a team gets one pre-qualifying attempt included in your entry. Whether it's a free entry or a paid entry, you get one qualifying attempt included. Now, if a so your teams don't have to all qualify at the same time. Every driver can qualify at different times during the week, whatever works for them. Now, if a driver sets a time and they're not happy with it and they would like to try to improve themselves, you can. So one of the traditions that we're very proud of in the majors is that we support a charity each and every round. We thought it would be cool to do the same for the majors 24, and so we are supporting Sunflower of Peace, which is a charity based out of Boston, Massachusetts, that supports all sorts of things within Ukraine, but currently mostly war relief. So, a really great charity, and we're happy to be supporting them. So, if a driver on the team wishes to try to improve their time, they can purchase an extra qualifying attempt, and I'll show you where you can find that. So, right here on the Majors Garage, there's extra qualifying attempts. You can also, when you go to our pre-qualifying page, there is a little handy dandy button where you can just click on it and go to purchase an extra qualifying attempt. Now you can do that as many times as you want during the week, but it does cost you $3 each and every time. So, um, we expect most people are just going to get one, going to qualify once. We'll stand on that time, and that'll be great. But again, if you do want to try to improve your time, you can, um, and you can purchase that here. And you need to do that before the week ends. For any additional attempts that you take, you make sure those are paid for before the end of the week, because if somebody takes, I'll just make up an example. Let's say somebody takes three qualifying attempts and they don't pay for any of them. Um, we will assign you your worst qualifying time during the week. So every time you take a new time, you're actually only putting yourself at risk of having a worse time, because we will automatically take your worst time when you don't pay for the extra qualifying session. So just be aware. Some people will unfortunately, I'm sure, will take a second or more qualifying time without even being aware of the rules. So we're trying to spread the news, trying to spread the word. It's in the rule book. It's in this guide. It's on the web page. But just be aware. If you take more than one, you do need to pay for it. And again, half of that, those proceeds do go to charity, which is great. Now, when you click on the extra qualifying button and it takes you to that page, one really important thing is that when you add it to the cart here, in this box, special instructions for seller, you want to put your iRacing member ID, and that's how we're going to match up you as a driver with the extra attempt, so that we can count your best time, not your worst time, when you take an extra attempt. So just be forewarned um, to do that. Put in your member ID. We've got that there in the on the web page to remind you. So very, very important. Now, when we say that each team will average their top three times, what that means is that each driver has 4 laps within their pre-qualifying session. Okay, your queue time is your best time of the 4. Okay, so some people will go out there for a lap, come back into the pits, go out there for a lap, come back into the pits. Keep in mind that every single time you cross start finish, that will register a new lap started, and so you can't abort it at that point without the lap already have counting. So you can only abort the qualifying run prior to start finish, which at Le Mans there's a very, very, very short window for that to happen. Is it drops you out near the Ford chicane. So if you're going to abort your first qualifying lap, you have to do so before you cross start finish line. Just word to the wise on how that works. But the teams will take their top three times. Then we'll average those, and that's your qualifying time for the week. We rank you against everybody else in your class, and we split you accordingly. The pre-qualifying sessions are all 1 hour solo efforts. So again, one best of 4 formats. Now there is a 5-minute warm up in those pre-qualifying sessions, a 50-minute qualifying session, and you'll notice that there's a 5-minute race session attached to the qualifying sessions. That's just a limitation of the iRacing hosted system, where we have to, you can't just have a qualifying session, unfortunately, so you have to have a race attached to it. So we do. You don't have any need to stick around for that. You're certainly welcome to exit and withdraw with no worry. Um, just want you to know how that is going to work. Um, if you join a qualifying session, maybe accidentally, or you just happen to join it and you decide, you know what, I don't really want to do my qualifying at this time, as long as you don't, uh, as long as the sim doesn't register you with a lap, which means crossing the start finish line at least one time, then you can exit out of the session without that having counted as your attempt. Now, we would ask that people not do that on purpose, like to spectate, because that takes up a grid spot. And there's only 62 in every session, and believe me, they will get full a lot of the time. So please, please, please don't join qualifying sessions just to check them out. If you want to spectate them, you can use the spectate option. Please don't join them as a driver unless you are absolutely intending to run your qualifying time. Okay. Um, Now, what else here? Uh, Now, the final pre-qualifying session will actually be back to back. We'll do one at 11 and 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock p.m. GMT on Friday, June 3rd, and it will end at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, June 3rd. So that's your last chance to get into qualifying time for the week. Now, during the week, you can actually track your pre qualifying times of yourself and your teams by coming to this page right here on the Major Series website. So you can navigate to this page by going to Results, Majors Pre-Q. Major 24 pre-Q, excuse me. That's this one. And then we also have a detailed view, which will show you all of the individual drivers on your team, which I'll show you in a second. But I want to sort of go over this page because you're going to probably view this page a lot during the week. Now, number one, most importantly, this page is updated by a human being. It's not automatic, so we take uh, the results CSV, export it, and put it into a program, and it calculates these times for us. We'll do that a couple times a day. You'll be able to see here in this top box when it was last updated, the date and the time, and we convert that to GMT, so you can do the math yourself to figure out when that was last updated before you start worrying that one of your times hasn't shown up. Now, if you're looking at this sheet and you see your teams here and you worry that, if you click on the detailed view, you can see all of the drivers. It'll pop up here in just a second. But if you don't find yourself and you know you've done a time and you know that the results have been updated since your last qualifying run, and you don't see it here, what that likely means is that either your member ID is missing or it was input incorrectly by whomever registered your team. So we do our lookups off of your member ID. It needs to match exactly, obviously, or it won't find you. And so if you know you've done a run and it's not showing up here, then uh, have your team owner update your team with your correct member ID, and it'll automatically catch it, so you don't have to run again. You don't run again, as a matter of fact, but it'll automatically pick it up after it's input correctly. So you don't have to worry you haven't lost it forever, and you won't have to pay for an extra attempt. Just let us know through the team editing box that your member ID needs to be updated. Now, on this page, the main one, you'll see the teams. You'll see it by class. You'll see which teams have paid, have our paid entrance. You'll see what their qualifying time is, which it will be the average of their top three, or the average of their top one or two if they've only had one or two go. Uh, and this will tell you how many drivers. The number column tells you how many drivers have made an attempt. So far during the week. So again, if the team has had less than three, so one or two, then this queue time, it will be a reflection and average of those. So it'll just be the one or just the two. Once they get to three um, or more, it'll simply average their best three. Um, so Simple. Split assignment, that will all be preliminary and hypothetical until pre-qualifying is over. So when you see, if let's say you're listed as split number one, that doesn't mean you can rest on your laurels. That just means that's where you are assigned currently based on current qualifying time at whatever day and time you look at this during the week. That can change. Split assignments just give you an idea of where you might fall if everything were to end right now. It also puts it into context for like paid versus non-paid. So you may have a non-paid team that has the fastest qualifying time of everybody in the entire field, but they won't be placed in any of the first four splits because that's the rules. Uh, you can filter this page in a handy way if you want to by typing in your class. You can type in your own team name if you just want to see your own team, but you can type in your class. You can type in the $ if you want to see how you rank against other teams that are paid. But we'll just use the example that we put on the page and type in GTE with a $, and this will filter the results for just teams that are in the GTE class and have a $. Now, the ranking also says no ranking because obviously pre-qualifying hasn't started yet. But once it does, and we start populating it with times, this will be updated one through however many hundred GTE teams there are. And you can see where you stand again relative to other teams if you want to look at it versus paid, not paid. If you just want to not give that one and just look at the GTE teams in total, you can do that. If you want to look at LMP2, you can do that. Okay, real easy. So this page, you'll probably get addicted to it throughout the week, and that's okay. Just keep refreshing it, have fun with it. But this will be a very important page for you to kind of keep track of where your team stands during the week. So, as I said, pre-qualifying will end at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, June 3rd. And when it's over, when pre-qualifying is over, we will shortly thereafter, within an hour or two, we'll send out split passwords to each of the team's contact person. And so it's important that whomever is listed as the contact person for the team is going to be available to receive that email and then distribute it to the team. This is my way of saying, hey, if they're not going to be available in that window of time, you might want to consider changing your contact person to somebody who will be. Pretty important to get the passwords. Also, once pre-qualifying is over and the race has started, we will be on the lookout. While we don't want ringers on the one side of people coming in and qualifying just to help a team qualify well and not actually racing, we also don't want people to sandbag their way into a lower split. Now we feel like we've put together a lot of incentives, whether it's the broadcast in splits 1 through 4, with extra broadcasting in split 1, or whether it's the uh, cautions, uh, full course cautions available in splits 1 through 4. Again, a more robust system in split 1, whether it's the podium legacy coins, which are available to all the podium finishers in splits 1 through 8. We feel like we've created a lot of incentive for teams to move up as high as they can, but there's always going to be somebody out there who thinks, you know what, let's have a poor qualifying effort so that we can beat up on teams that are slower than us. That's not really the spirit of what we're after here. And if we identify that during the race, we'll penalize you in the race. No problem. We're happy to assign lap penalties as needed, as we see fit. And if we don't catch it during the race, we can apply lap penalties after the race. So anyway, just be mindful. Just qualify the best you can. Try to move up the grid as high as you can. That's part of the challenge. Race week, pre-qualifying in race week for the Majors 24 is a huge part of the event, a massive part of the event. Make the most of it. Have fun with it, and really try to put your team up as high as you can. It'll be worth it, I promise. Okay, so let's cover the last couple things real quickly. So again, practice sessions begin here very soon, if not already by the time you're watching this. And there is a password protection on both the practice and the pre-qualifying sessions. The password for the practice sessions is life, LIFE, and the password for the pre-qualifying sessions is legend, LEGEND. I can spell, I promise. So those sessions are password protected so that we don't just get randoms joining at any time and taking up grid spots. Um, and that's it. So race week is about here. Good luck.